Hi, I'm Rob Pelc, founder and CEO of AdvantageLumber.com. Today we're going to show you how to install one of our deck tile applications over a standard concrete patio. The deck tiles we're going to be putting down today that we make at AdvantageLumber.com, this one happens to be a teak, but we also make it in other woods like ipe, kumuru, masaranduba, grappa, a bunch of different colors for your color palette. Now this teak is unfinished. It doesn't have any oil on it, but we're going to put a water-based oil on top of this when the guys finish up laying this down. So this patio is about 16 foot by 18 foot. It's gonna be a couple hours to lay these down. They snap together like Legos. One of the coolest products we make, deck tiles from AdvantageLumber.com. These are 24 inch by 24 inch. These are actually a commercial grade tile that we use in a lot of restaurants and rooftops. We also make a 20 inch by 20 inch deck tile for residential applications, but there's nothing saying you can't use the 20 inch for commercial or the 24 inch for residential. Okay, so what we have down here is our first starter row of the deck tiles. And to start it against the wall, there's scoring marks on the back side of the deck tile connector where you can razor knife or use some large sheet metal shears on. And then you bend them back and forth a couple times and you end up with half a connector. And we use the half a connector when you're up against the wall for your starter row just to space the deck tile up off the concrete in the back. And we use a full connector out to the front of that. And then we can cut this again to get a quarter piece of this just to put in the back corner. And you'll also notice here, this Florida concrete if you would, but concrete all over the world, all over the country, is never really fully square. Neither is any construction wall. So you'll see there's a big gap here. We're gonna make a pencil mark down here. We're gonna scribe that to the wall, cut that with a jigsaw, and we're gonna get this first deck tile fitted nice and tight to the corner here. Now we did check before you cut these. After we mark our line, you just gotta eye it up and make sure, will I clear that screw on the back? We should clear that screw fine. So you wanna avoid cutting through the stainless steel screws. Make sure you wear safety glasses just in case you do hit a screw in there when you're cutting. We wanna coat the end grain with this Deckwise ipe seal. And you can use this on the ipe, you can use it on grappa, masaranduba, all our different types of exotic hardwoods. You can also use it on the teak. Gonna dip it in there and we're just gonna slop. This will dry clear, but we don't want to get it too much onto the surface there. We're not worried about this edge board, that's the edge grain. We're worried about the end grain, because that's like a bunch of straws with open cells. And that's where water gains and loses most of its moisture from. So we're just gonna paint that along there. We can put it down wet. There's no need for this to dry. Okay, so we got one row of the teak deck tiles against the house and we got one row coming out away from the house. So we did it this way because we want to make sure that we start with one full row against the house, just aesthetically will look better. And then we want to make sure when we lay these out along the, going away from the house, that we don't end up with a little sliver. This piece here will end up with like one slat of the tile after we notch around the post, so that's doable. Okay, so we have most of the 24 by 24 inch tiles down. We're gonna start cutting the tiles around the perimeter. And what I like to do when we cut those outside perimeter ones, on the back hole, we're gonna cut away the holes. And some of those holes may get relocated. So if we pull one of the pins out of the deck tile connector, that's the pin that goes up into that hole is no longer there. Say we cut this tile right here, we can then just use this as a drilling guide, slide that down onto the tile and drill our new hole. You can use that 10, 12 times before that plastic gets a little bit rounded out, and then put your tile connector back in there. Use that for one of your regular tiles, and then just grab another one to keep using for your drill guide. And that's for when you cut for the outside perimeter. Now, if I'm gonna cut this tile here, say this is to the outside perimeter right here, what I'm gonna do before I cut this tile, I'm gonna unscrew this board and I'm gonna move it down to my cut line. Okay, a question we get a lot of times from customers is, how do I cut a deck tile? You'll see when you get to the outside perimeter against the wall, we have to cut all the tiles on the perimeter there. So we've already cut this tile to fit in here. And if you flip these around to the back, this is a hole tile here, and this is our cut tile here. So we simply took the screws out of this one backing board, moved it down, ran it through the table saw and cut this. Now, if you don't have a table saw, no problem. You could cut this with a jigsaw. You could cut this with a circular saw. Teak is nice and easy to work with. It's a lightweight wood. It's a lot lighter than working with some of our drastic hardwoods, extreme hardwoods like Ipe or Kumru or Tigerwood. So this cuts really nice with simple carbide blades. It is a good idea when you start the project, start with a new blade. It will give you less splinters on the surface along the cut edge. So, you know, carbide blades are cheap now, you know, 20 bucks for a circular saw blade. You get a nice cut there. So real simple to cut these. And we're just gonna pop this one down in. And you see these hold it up out of the water there, so dirt and water can drain underneath the tiles. One alternative to cutting these around the edge, fitting them around each post, is to use colored rock, and to do an accent feature here, you can just end on a full tile and then have a field of stones there. It looks real nice and decorative. The water drains through them just like it does the tiles, and it saves you a lot of work from having to go all the way around cutting each piece. So we do have this one notch to go around the pillar here, and it's going to snap in, and we're going to keep going like that. Okay, so we laid this down in record time, like 2 hours tops. We got everything cut. We just got some spots, little scuffs and stuff from handling, and oil off the guy's hands, and pencil marks, that kind of thing. So we're gonna take one of these round 5-inch orbital, and we're gonna put some 80 and for most of it 120 grit sandpaper on there. Just quickly gonna buzz over those spots on the deck. And then afterwards, we're gonna mop on some of this Wise Coat water-based finish. This is a deck finish, and it's water-based, so it doesn't smell like the oil base. You don't got to worry about the rags being flammable like the oil base. We're going to put that on with a mop applicator. We've washed this out and going to reuse it from a previous demonstration, but just going to kind of mop that in. The guys are going to show you how they'll do that. Well, there you go, guys. This is a nice couple-hour project, nice DIY project, easy for you guys at home to do. Go to advantagelumber.com. On the left-hand column, look for deck tiles. And these little modular deck tiles, they come in 20-inch by 20-inch, 24-inch by 24-inch, and even 24-inch by 48. The most economical ones are the 20-inch. They all go together the same way. They're nice, simple, and easy. So again, advantagelumber.com, you can order the connectors, the deck tiles, and the deck finish. Or you can look for our deck tile packages that have all that together so you don't even have to think about it. AdvantageLumber.com, give me your credit card number, we'll give you some wood, everybody's happy.